are ignorant, not all are knowledgeable. So, knowledge and ignorance have a proportion in each one of us. Therefore, sometimes the knowledge, you become very profound sometimes, and sometimes you become very ignorant. You talk something nonsense. Sometimes you talk very profound. So, in life, what is important, knowledge or ignorance? Both are important, as a matter of fact. Both are important, as a matter of fact. See, don't say that ignorance is bad. The very word ignorance you use is because of knowledge, right? Otherwise, you don't say a certain person is ignorant. Because of the knowledge, you say that certain person is ignorant. Now, in life, what happens is there are four components in life. Not what you think or what you call life, but real life. There are four components. That one is, I explained it last time in the retreat, as a matter of fact. L-I-F-E, right? That means love is one of the components. It is the component, as a matter of fact. All others come next to it. Then there is integrity. And it also means integral resonance. Integral resonance. And then comes forbearance, fortitude. These are the only two things you can take, fortitude and forbearance, and fearlessness. And then the fourth is endurance. And the second word you can add to it is enforcement. What do you enforce? Actually, see, enforcement of the knowledge. See, you enforce knowledge. And that leads to enfoldment. Okay. So, if these four components are there in life in a very good balance, so then the life is not a strife or misery or sorrow and suffering and all those things will not be there. And if one is missing, then you have all those things, sorrow, suffering, misery. One of them, they are like four legs. If one is missing, you have only three legs, then you miss another one, then there are two legs. See, of course we have got two legs, but those are crippled, they become crippled. So, you cannot move. So, now in what way we want to establish or enforce these four components in life and bring them in balance? That's called equitable distribution of all these four components. Equally they should be distributed over life. And it's not, life is an eternal thing, So, you cannot distribute them equally in an eternity, but it should be done everyday life, in every day. So then what happens, the conditions, what we call, we are hooked onto the conditions we call life. So you have to loosen that hook, and that condition will fall off. Then establish one component in the place of that condition. See. So you may not become totally, deconditioned. It's not possible at all in everyday life. It's not possible to become totally condition free. See, everywhere you have got conditions, and that may be conducive in a way to the leading life, what you call the empirical life or the life in the world. And life is, apart from this, life is something different. Apart from all these things, life is something different. It is when you have these four components in life in an equitable condition. That's also a condition. To make it equal is a condition also, in equitable condition. Then you are actually enfolded in these the four components. You are enfolded in that, and that, when you are enfolded in that, that will give an you are just outfolding. Then it will be unfolded. The enfoldment in these four components of life gives rise to unfoldment in several dimensions, different dimensions. That's it. So it unfolds within you. It will not go, there is some dimension there, somewhere outside, somewhere above, and it is unfolding to you. No. When you are enfolded in these four components, love, integrity, and what are the other things? Forbearance.
Endurance.
Endurance. So if you are, when you are there enfolded in that, the dimension unfold themselves inside you. All the dimension unfold. And that's one of the best way of calling what spirituality is. Other things we can say so many things, but that is not spirituality. Unless the spirituality begins at the core, at the grassroots, so it cannot be spirituality at all. And spirituality, these are practical things. These are very practical things. So you must have love. Love is not, as Saint Paul says, she sang that. It is patience and perseverance, going after. That means in one word, going after it. So you cannot sit at home and say, yes, I need some love, somebody should love me. It won't come like that. It won't come like that. Unless you are attuned to all these four components, it will not come like that. So one should deserve, become worthy of being loved. You cannot demand love. You cannot demand love. You cannot command it. If you try to demand and command, it will slip away. You see, it is very slippery. I tell you, it will slip away, and you will have no hold on it. Is it possible to hold love as you want it to be held? Is it possible to hold love? It's not. It's not possible because it's an eternal process. It's not, yesterday there was love and today there is no love. It's not like that. This is our thought process. It says, oh, yesterday somebody loved me and yesterday my wife loved me and today she is not loving me. You can say all those things. This is your thought. Love has not changed at all. It doesn't change. It's the one permanent thing everyone should know is love. As God is permanent, love is permanent. Life is permanent. See? So that cannot change. But our thoughts, our thoughts change about love. We change our thoughts about love. Because we don't know what actually love is. It's an experience. It's not even a feeling. It's an experience beyond all the experiences. That's beyond all the experiences. We get a lot of other experiences, But love is beyond all the experiences. And but the experiencer, when he experiences love, cannot say, I have experienced love, because they are not separate. Love, the experiencer of love, and the love, what he experiences, they will become one. That's the unified process that goes on throughout life. When we separate ourselves from that and call a particular thing is love, as a woman's love, or a father's love, or a son's love, or a daughter's love, a brother's love, mother's love, all those things we separate. We arbitrarily do this differentiation in that love. So then what happens? We get so confused. What love I am trying to express? What kind of love I am trying to express, or I am supposed to express? It gets so confused. Then there is when there is a confusion, it becomes so confounded, and there is no love. And when you say, I am, okay, only I am, there is no love in it. See? And if God calls himself I am, he never calls himself I am. Only I am people say I am. Okay. See, God never calls I am. See, God is all, as a matter of fact. So, therefore He is the only love that we cannot compare to any other love. Cannot compare. And He will not stoop down to teach you what love is. It cannot be taught. It's a gift. It cannot be taught. It's a gift given to every one of us. Everybody has this love in the heart. But then what happens? See, if you do not know this, that's called ignorance. If you do not know what love is, then you are really ignorant. See, you are really ignorant. And then, ignorance is sometimes is a bliss also. Okay. So they call ignorance is bliss, but there is no love in it. This is the main important thing in love, in life. Because life itself is love. Our conditions created by us will not give us a glimpse of that love which life is. That's the love. Therefore we have problems. That's the only problem we have got in the world. Not other problems stem from that. That's the only problem we have is we don't know what love is. We have not experienced it. And in the modern day world especially, you cannot experience love at all. You experience kind of fashion, perversion, right? And people profit, they profit by this perversion, and they profit by that. See, now you see, they show in the movies, you see a woman loving a man or a man loving a woman. And because we don't have it, we become enamored of that very thing we see, and say, I should have that in my life. This kind of love, a heroine and a hero come and, there is some love exchanges and all those things. See, I should have love like that. That's ignorance. See, that you see, it's not, I don't say it is perversion, but it's a kind of fantasy. You see the fantasy. And you cannot fantasize love at all. You cannot fantasize love. You can fantasize, you can act that, you can fantasize that, you can hallucinate that, all those things you can do. But the real love is a strong hold on our heart and soul. It's a strong hold. And if you are not in touch with that, that's what happens with ignorance. We are not in touch with the real, and we take the unreal as the real. See, that's the problem comes. Now, suppose you are endowed with this love, then you will not be able to distinguish, separate yourself from that. Suppose you are endowed with it. Suppose it, okay. We are not sure whether we are endowed with it or not, because we are not worthy of being endowed with love. See, that's a great endowment. And may not be worthy of enjoying that love, that blissful love. And why you call it God's love? Because we have different conception of God. Different religions have different conception of God. Different people have different conception of God. So even they say God is very ruthless and very cruel, and He doesn't care for us and these things are there. But is that true, or is it just ignorance? We are blaming someone, who doesn't appear before us anyway. So suppose this God appears before us. When He appears before us, He may appear. Because this manifestation of love, if it is so strong in you, you are not separate from that will manifest inside you. That's what we call God. So God will manifest inside us. That means love has manifested in full force inside us. And then we feel very happy and cheerful, jolly, good fellows, and we feel all sorts of. I can't explain that feeling of real love, what it is. If you explain it, if you try to explain it, you will misconstrue it. See, so you can't explain it. So you become one with that. And that's your oneness with God. When they say oneness with God means not that God is some kind of a figure, some kind of form, come to you and embrace you and bless you. No. It is just that love, which you really experience in yourself and become one with it. So now the experiencer and the experience is not there. It's only the experience in love. Just experiencing that love. Is not the experiencer is not there, and the experiencer is not there. It's just experiencing. Just experiencing. So that's one of the wonderful, gifts of this love, which we inherit in many ways. We inherit them. And out of ignorance, we lose that inheritance and become paupers and beggars and downtrodden people. So, to uplift from that condition, that's the condition. To uplift from that condition, we go to church or temples and all sorts of things. We go to the fortune tellers and all sorts of things we do in order to uplift ourselves. But then you don't know what you are lifting up. What you are lifting up. You can lift up your ignorance or you can lift up your knowledge. The real knowledge is that knowledge of love. Real knowledge. That's wisdom. So, and that wisdom is inherent in every human being, in every animal, in every plant, every creation, the whole creation, it is there in creation. So when you say some naturalist, animal lovers, all those people, this is done, of course they have a good moment, animal lovers and everything. If you wear some years ago, if you wear a mink coat, they would take it and burn. They were very enthusiastic about it. Burning a mink coat will save the animal, which is already dead. No. So those were the fads were there. They are called the fads. But in reality, if everyone sits and thinks about it, so now comes through the thought process. How the thought can be changed and how this thought can be directed to a higher dimension. Kip was telling one that day he talked in Las Vegas, he was telling them to think high, so that you can, instead of bickering for small things, $5, $10, go to your buckaroo ball, at least you will have. Okay. Right. So, instead of thinking the petty things, have a higher thought. So, that should start every morning when you get up. A higher thought. Not a thought of what I should harm someone today, what I should do today. A higher thought. You will continue with life. That's what I said, You carry on with your life with a higher thought. And you carry out your duties as whatever your station you are in life. So you can carry out your duties and carry on with your life on a very high level. And then the duties become, more appropriate to the time, appropriate to the person, appropriate to the situation. The duties become so appropriate. Otherwise you do wrong duties. You do wrong duties. Morning to evening you see everybody is busy, You go to office or wherever you go and you do your duty. Whatever the duty is, you do that. Sometimes they may not give the required result or what result you want that your duty should give to you. Duties cannot give. You cannot expect a result from the duties. You just do it selflessly. That's what it is. Suppose you want to feed 5 people, you feed it. Feed those 5 people. You don't expect any kind of return from those people. You are feeding them because they are hungry, they cannot feed themselves, so you feed them. Then it ends. Your duty ends. Right? And so you cannot expect any kind of a result out of it. Merit or demerit, nothing. But just you have done You don't brag about it. I've heard 5 people I've heard. You don't brag about it. That's done and finished. Then you do another duty. So it goes on like that, life. It actually follows a trend. That's called journey of life. That's the journey. You journey in life. It's not journey of life, it's a journey in life. Because the life is an eternal process that goes on with you or without you. So now see whether a person is dead. If the life finishes? No, it doesn't. Right? Huh? The living people carry on life. Right? A person is dead. Suppose somebody's father is dead. You may cry one day, my father is dead and he used to give me money and everything. I don't get money from him and I'm dead. But you carry on with your life. See, life is eternal process. It goes on in spite of you. It goes on. It has no stopping. It has no break. It has no depth. It goes on. Now see, you are a direct descendants of your parents, immediate parents, whatever it is. And they descended from somebody and all those things. But the life never stopped, when they died. It continued through you. And through your progeny it will continue. It will continue. Life will never end. See. But the condition of life, what you call the condition, ends. See, the condition should end. It should, at every breath, it should end. It should not be there all the time. So then you will continue with your life. Now, there are, so you carry on your life. And you should not carry over. Some people didn't understand what I meant by carry over. Now see, that might have caused some trouble with someone. Okay. I realized that later on. So, this carry over means, suppose you leave a debt, you owe some money to a state or whatever it is, a rich man who you take a loan givers, you owe money. And this money is legally, your sons and daughters are bound to pay that back. That's carry over. So you carry over this thing and somebody will have to suffer for it. Right? Suffer for it. See, this is what I was telling you, somebody misunderstood it, I tell you. Because I used the word credit card. Okay. I used the word credit card. You accumulate debt on the credit card. Thousands of dollars you accumulate. And if you are not able to pay, your heirs will have to pay it. They won't leave you, they will take away your property and all those things, they can confiscate everything. So this is what I was telling, carry over. So we should be very careful that don't carry over your debt and loans and all that. So that should end with the person itself. So then you will not have this problem with it. Then your children will not curse you when you are in your grave. Then you will not go to heaven at all, absolutely, because you will be in your grave. See, so that one thing, what the curse do not come from God, it comes from the living being. What you do, that affects your children. See, forbearance is, endurance means you endure the thing, if there are difficulties and all those things, you endure it. You forbear means, this is a distinction made by the Indian philosophers, Forbearance comes from your ancestors and all those things. So that's the accumulation of, you bear those things, It's also future. It's also future, You say the foresight, we say, right? Foresight. You bear something from future that's going to happen in future, Yeah. And so when you once build up the endurance, then forbearance is very easy. Build up endurance. And forbearance is also connected to perseverance, connected to perseverance. So what happens in this case? So in order to avoid all those things, these curses and all those things, okay, what I'm telling you is what happens to avoid these curses and all those things, and then you'll be suffering in the grave itself. Here the question of knowledge comes. Here the question of knowledge comes. You apply your fortitude. See, here comes your forbearance, your endurance. You apply it in a very rightful way, without neglecting after death results. See, that's I will tell you the things are. There are a lot of things I have seen and read, and I have experienced with people. Therefore, that it's not the parents were bad because they were killed by the Hernandez brothers, you must know that. Because these parents they were very selfish in a way, all those things, and they didn't give them a lot of money. And then they thought they will leave it to somebody else and something they will do with that. They would not have any money, therefore they killed them. See, these are the things that it's the fear of not getting it. You see, not getting it. See, they killed them. And not only this one case, there are a lot of cases like that, which have happened especially in Texas. Most of the cases happen in Texas. 72 ounce steak. Can anybody eat 72? So, this is, then you see, the thing is, in the beginning itself, if you take care of all this, that's knowledge of discrimination. If you take care of all those things in the beginning itself, from beginning, suppose you are earning only $100, you only spend $50 and not spend $50 more, or take $200 from someone and spend it. But if you have integrity, that's what is integrity. See, is the integral resonance of right understanding. So, when you have that, you do it in a very proper way. If you spend only what you can afford, you don't accumulate your debt on credit cards. It's very shameful to accumulate on credit cards. See. So, so the credit card companies survive because of this. They have a lot of people. They have, confiscated their properties and, taken away everything they had. So this is what happens if you have this is the fourth thought. If you don't understand what is going to happen, it's not the question of future. It's the question of the moment. I got $50. I'll spend only $25. I will not spend $75, put $25 in the credit card. This is what. That is where the knowledge comes. There is the right knowledge and the right thinking. Thought is not bad if you know how to think a right thought. You see, you really a clue to it. See. Now, so this is one. I'm talking about the empirical world, or the what you call the practical world. See, if you are not practical, you are ignorant. You must know that. This is all the practical things, right? It's practical, and that is the real spirituality. You don't, harass someone, harm somebody. You don't carry over your debts and make debts and then suffer. Then you have to earn more money to pay that. Then you don't have even energy to work. You are exhausted, right? Then you become irritable. All the negative qualities will come in. All the negative qualities will start coming. And then you have no power over the negative qualities. So you'll completely lose your humanity, let alone God and all those things. Your humanity. See, and lead very wretched life with anger, hatred, jealousy, and whatnot. That's how these things come.
Bitterness.
Bitterness. Because that's how these things, the negative, all the sweep over you. See, in Michael Talbot says, the gods, that is your name. He says, God sweeps over me. Your torrents, like that, the suffering and all kinds of things, irritability and all the negative qualities will sweep over you. And then there is no way to come out of it. Then at that time you may think, I should have done this, I should have done that, to avoid the circumstance. You may later on think about it. That's called afterthought. Yeah, that's called afterthought. You may think about those things. So when we have a strong body, when you still can stand erect on your legs, still when your neck is not shaking, and head is held high, better to make the amends in our life. Follow the right process. This is called the life process. This is not the process of the conditions we create, but this is the life process. And then we join that life in its eternal aspect, not otherwise. And when you join that life with the eternal aspect, you join God also. That's also eternal aspect of life. God is not something, if you say God is different from life, then he will be lifeless. He doesn't have any life at all. No. He is the eternal aspect of life. Because God. Aspect. See? It's not a person or a form or an entity, but it is the eternal aspect of life. So when we once join ourselves, without any kind of separation with life, we are joining with God also, that aspect of life. It's the highest aspect of life. See? Then all those things follow. See, that's where the Indian philosophy, Dharmam Chara, Satyam Bodha, it's very simple thing. What is the meaning? This is what I am telling, this is the following the Dharma. Exactly you are following the Dharma. Your responsibilities, your values, and all those things come into play, and you have a power of discrimination, and then you are following the Dharma. You are holding yourself to a place where you don't fall. That's called Dharma. Guru Dharati, that holds you to the human level. That's what Dharma is. Then you are following real Dharma. Otherwise you create karmas and karmas and karmas. So here you don't create karma, you are following the Dharma. Exactly. So Dharma is a kind of, it's exactly the practical duties of life you do with a wonderful attitude, bearing, thinking of all the responsibilities and leading a very sane and practical life. And then you will not be thrown to this hydra-headed monsters that comes in from inside when you are in suffering. So, but then this is how you understand, how you put your life. Putting life together means this, not in any other way. Otherwise it is like crying wolf, crying wolf. Nobody will come and help you. Take business. Now take about Bill Gates. Bill Gates is an ordinary person, very ordinary person with no money or anything. So about his friends. He has good friends. 4 people joined together, and he brought this idea of the Microsoft, this idea, and they put it into practice so diligently. See, they didn't go to at that time. They never went to. Even Bill Gates doesn't go to party even to this day. Even though he's now after this market fall and everything, and they wanted to split Microsoft. Still, he is worth 60 billion. Okay. So he was worth 120 billion. Now he's worth 60 billion. See, I'll tell you. See, but still that man is so, that integrity of that man is so great, I tell you. So he began very small. And he didn't have credit card yet. Surely not. Surely not. This is what the understanding of it. If you do a business, it should be at least good business, right? And of course we cannot predict all those things. But then you should have very minimum you put on the credit card. I don't say you should not put on the because that's the facility you have got in this country. So, but you should not go beyond your capacity. You'll be able to pay because you have spent it for a good cause and for education.
Yeah.
And that will pay.
That's
Those
different.
things will surely pay.
Those are different.
There's
Okay.
no support
You
and
will.
everything. Study to work hard and pay off the debt and everything, but you are still benefited by
Yeah.
the knowledge of it. All those things, you are benefited by it. That's the right way of thinking. Of course, I think most in the 70% of the students in college, they take the loan.
Yeah.
They all
Yeah,
take
they
the loan. I know a person who has $200,000 to pay in loan. But he can pay because that person became a doctor. See, that's again, that has come because parents have not done their duties properly.
Right.
That's what it is. It all boils down
Right.
to that. If they are strict and did their duties properly, they should not happen like that. How many crimes are committed every 13 seconds? Every 13 seconds. Every 15 seconds, a divorce takes place. Every 15 seconds.
Wow.
If you take the country, it is the biggest country. I mean, it's not big as India or something like that, but it's the biggest in these things, divorces and all sorts, negative activities, very big. All the negative activities in the United States is very famous for that. So this is the kind of thing which will come years after years after years of accumulation of this. That will one day explode. So in order to avoid that, every family should build up something like a character building. The character means you don't play a character at all. You are a character yourself. See, then you really do it. That every family should do. It's not the question of the government or anything. Every family should do it. And that's the real dharma to do. That's what dharma means. It's not something, going to a temple and praying. That is not. Doing these right things. That's more than praying in a temple. More than, meditating for 100 years. That's where it's the right thing. And everybody will be happy in that respect. If one family helps itself to be on the proper line, the other will follow it. But we follow some negative things. If my neighbor is a drug addict, that must be a good thing to do because he is happy there, he's in great pleasure and everything. So I must do that also. We follow these kinds of things. We take from people the worst. We don't give anything best. See, we take the worst. That's what and then one day, when you become very old, you realize that I have not done the right thing. You realize that, and then it's too late. But then, therefore, you say when that happens, you will go to a priest and confess. You confess. Because you have not confessed to yourself. You have not confessed to yourself. You are not truthful to yourself. You are not honest to yourself. Therefore, then you have to go to confess. Then you always hope. You live in hope that Virgin Mary will come and help me. Why Virgin Mary should come and help? This is what do you think? I can do anything I want, and so one day God will come and help me. Why God should come and help? Because you have not loved yourself, you have not loved your family, you have not done anything like that. So if God is love, why should He come if you don't have it? It's not outside somewhere, it will come from outside. All within you. It's not outside. That's a misconception we have. God is somewhere there, somewhere behind the clouds. And when I'm able to see, when the crowd clears, nothing is there, the blue sky. So that's it. So this is the integrity, what I call that's the integral resonance, which creates a unified field in your soul, unites all the faculties that you are endowed with. Then you, as everything unfolds, in your enfoldment, dimensions unfold, and you are always embraced. And then you must feel grateful all the time. Gratitude deserves your attention. Right? Must be attentive to all those things. Like Vino was telling me, must be attentive to all those things. So you must be attentive to all those things. To attend all the time. Attend to yourself. Don't tend to attend, but attend. Okay. See, so these are some thoughts I had. We can continue more about it. And see, I just sit there and patting my dog. She has become lame a little bit, and she is very good. I get all these ideas. So the dog is my teacher. So it has so much forbearance, endurance. As Shankaracharya, one of the greatest philosophers of the world, said all this he learned from birds and animals. He had 24 teachers, not a human being at all in that, okay? All birds and dogs and monkeys and donkeys and all animals. He learned all from animals and plants. So he didn't have a human teacher at all. That's a good thing. Therefore he became a great philosopher. If I had a human teacher, he would have become like some popes. There are more Catholics in the United States. A son says to a father, "Oh Father, help me to understand you." This is from an old scripture. This is from a saint, Ashwatha. Actually, he was born under the Ashwatha tree. That's the tree of life. We call it, what do you call Ashwatha tree? In English, even in English they call it Ashwatha. And then they translated it tree of life. So he was born under the Ashwatha. There is a tree, Ashwatha tree. So he was born under the tree, and his mother died. So his father, somewhere, he was working somewhere and gone long distance, and this child was born. Then actually these birds fed the child for 3-4 days. Birds used to bring wet it with their saliva and put it in the mouth of the bird. That's how he survived. And then his father, then he grows up, then he was taken care of by somebody else. Then his father comes and he came to know that his wife died with childbirth. So this boy, when he was 8 or 9 years old, he thinks how great when he meets the father, and the father they met in such a way, such a meeting. That's how that Sanskrit thing, that Pitradeva Bhava, that Father be my God. That's how it comes from. This boy who sang that. And what was his wish? His father asked, I have left him alone, but I went on some business. And unfortunately, he was old man. And I'm very sorry for that. So I should have been there, he depends. And then he asked the boy, what do you want from me? He says, I've seen a lot of children, mothers were putting the cradle and rocking the cradle and all those things. I never heard of it. To put me in the cradle and rock me. And then he becomes a saint, this boy becomes a saint. Of course, all the Indian stories, become a saint, So, he becomes a saint. And then that Ashwatha tree and the rich were born.